What's up, guys? Cody and Shaheen here with Versa Business Systems. Just want to talk about what's going on in today's world with kind of in a recession, not really one that's coming, and gonna let Shaheen here speak on kind of how he has gotten through similar scenarios like this in the past, and just see what advice he has for other businesses and what we can do to help other businesses out there. So, Shaheen, if you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself, obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of you may know me. I'm Shaheen. I own Versa Business Systems. We specialize in helping businesses save money and grow with lending products, as well as credit card processing, where we can eliminate their credit card processing fees. So I've been in the business-to-business world for 15 years plus. Seen a lot of businesses succeed, seen a lot of businesses fail. I've been around businesses my whole life. Started my first business when I was 7 years old. I wouldn't say I'm the best business owner or the biggest expert, but I've seen a lot of stuff happen, a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, and we've been able to help a ton of businesses through 2020. Now today, I mean, over the last 5 years, we saved hundreds and hundreds of businesses from going out of business.
So what's going on in today's world? Like, what's kind of happening right now?
So, I mean, as everybody can see, gas prices going up, cost of transportation going up, everything's kind of connected, right? So, like, in 2020, we had almost a full year of people not being able to go to school, people not being able to trade, to learn a trade, right? So there's shortage on pilots, there's shortage on transportation, trucking drivers, all those things. It's all related, right? Why we're in the situation we're in as a country is, the country gave away so much money to try and keep us all afloat during 2020, right? And we're seeing a lot of issues, and it's all kind of related to what happened in 2020, right? We had a recession in 2008, we built back up, and then boom, 2020 hit with COVID and kind of shut everything down. But for example, like the pilots thing, somebody was asking me the other day, like, why is there a shortage of pilots? Well, it's because for a whole year, there was not new pilots going to school or finishing school that year, but the same amount of pilots are retiring. So now, here we are 2 years later, and we got a major shortage on pilots.
So you touched on 2020 being similar.
Yeah.
What did you do, and how did you handle the crisis in 2020?
So 2020 was actually one of our best years. So early on in 2020, we had a client reach out to us asking us to help him find masks. And at the time, I'm thinking Halloween masks, right? Like, nobody knew what an N95 was or KN95 unless you were in the medical industry, right? And so that was when I first heard of COVID, which was early January of 2020. And started researching. I'm like, man, this could be really bad. Businesses could be shut down. We got to kind of do something. And it turned out we had a lot of connections in the medical equipment industry that had masks, had sanitizer, had gloves, had all these products that people all around the world were needed, and there was a major shortage because of what was coming with COVID. So we actually created Versa Medical Supplies. So we created a medical supply business. So when everything shut down in April, which lending stopped, right? The only type of loans that we're going through were PPP and EIDL. Businesses were shut down. So we had a medical supply company already built by then to be able to, I moved all my sales reps and everybody, the whole company, we focused on medical supplies until things opened back up towards the end of the year.
So it seems like you kind of just adapted and overcame.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I honestly believe that success is measured by your ability to adapt, right?
Awesome.
Things are always going to happen. Like, things could be going great for years, and then something happens, and you got to be able to adapt. I mean, if you look at any big business, like Elon Musk, for example, right? He's had major failures, right? He's had major successes, but the reason why he's had those major successes is because he didn't give up. He adapted, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we're not really harping on our medical supply website right now.
No, yeah, I mean, we haven't really done anything with medical supplies for a while. You know, we have some repeat customers that still order here and there, but
that's awesome that you did
really.
that. So you adapted, overcame. What should other businesses do during this time to prepare for what's happening and what's coming?
So really, I mean, businesses need to start saving money wherever they can. You know, really take a look at their expenses and figure out different ways. You know, different expenses that they can either cut out or reduce significantly. You know, for example, like what we do, we can eliminate a business's credit card processing fees, which is huge because, you know, if you take a look at a business, let's say they've got a 10% profit margin, right? And they're mostly taking credit cards. Well, if they're paying 3%, now they're going from a 10% profit margin to a 7% profit margin.
Yep.
So if you can get that back up to 10 by eliminating your credit card processing fees, you could save a ton of money that way. I highly recommend businesses borrow money now before they see a downturn in their revenue, because right now, where they have solid revenue, they can get a much better loan than if they try 3 to 6 months from now when their revenues have declined.
Right,
you know,
right.
so at least they'll have that cushion, whether it's a loan or a line of credit set up to be able to use in the future, right? Like, you don't have to use it for, if you don't use it for 12 months, we'd have to reapply, right? But over the next 12 months, you're most likely going to need that line of credit. So if you've got decent credit, you've got at least 3 years in business, now is the time to get a line of credit 100%, you know, just to prepare for what may come. You know, we're already seeing it happen.
Right.
It's already happening now, right? Like the definition of a recession is what. Let me see. So the definition of a recession is defined as a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters. We're seeing that already, right? Everything that we're seeing that's going on in the world, I mean, from the shortage of bacon to shortage of truck drivers to shortage of pilots. What was most recent? Baby formula, right? Like, for weeks, people couldn't feed their babies. They were scrambling, trying to find food for their babies. If that's not a recession, I don't know what is.
Yeah, we're definitely in the middle of one. You kind of touched on it. I was going to say, how can we help other businesses during this time? I think there's probably some more we can do.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we have a lot of different avenues that we dabble in. You know, we have a lot of marketing connections. We have different ways that we can help businesses grow and save money, not just by, you know, switching over their credit card processing and cutting out that 3% fee, or getting them a loan or a line of credit. But we've got a lot of connections in the marketing space. You know, if you're spending a bunch of money on radio ads, there's better ways to do marketing nowadays, right? If you're spending a lot of money on direct mail, trust me, I've done it. I used to spend over $1 million a year on direct mail. We were able to cut our marketing costs by 2/3 by switching to AI, right? Like, there's a lot of different things that we can help businesses with. You know, start saving money now. To prepare for things, because they are going to get worse before they get better, unfortunately.
And not only that, but lending and credit card processing, which you already touched on, but still, there's a lot that we can do. All right, so what you've been kind of given these little tips and kind of tidbits throughout this whole entire video, but what advice, like, what's the main 3 top advice what are the main 3 things you would say to business owners right now on how to get through this?
I mean, the main thing is get organized, right? So get organized, take a look at your, you know, what you're spending your money on, see where you can cut costs. Those are the biggest things, right? And if you can get some kind of line of credit, I highly recommend doing that now. Before things get worse. I mean, those would be the biggest things. Just take a look at your expenses, see where you can cut some costs and not cut value, right? Like, you don't want to cut costs on your materials and build a worse house, right? Don't do that. But there's definitely ways that you can save money, whether it's on marketing by doing different marketing, whether it's, you know, using different t-shirts for your employees, or, you know, going remote, right? Like, we went remote a year before COVID, and there was a lot of different reasons, right? Like we still have an office, but a lot of our reps have gone to remote because it's so much easier. It gives us a bigger pool, right? We have offices all over the country now, whereas before we were kind of just stuck to the Maryland area. Right. So,
man, that's awesome, Shaheen. So that kind of wraps everything up. I feel like we've spoken on what you have done, how you've gotten through similar situations in the past, what business owners can do to help prevent them, how we can help business owners.
Right.
In closing, what would you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say the biggest thing is don't freak out. Don't worry about what's to come. If you adapt and you make the right decisions in preparing for the worst, you're going to be okay. Like, you're going to be fine, right? But if you don't adapt and you don't start preparing for it now, it could get pretty bad, right? The only times I see people fail is when they refuse to adapt. And the fact is, we're in a world right now where you have to adapt. You have no choice, right? Otherwise, you're going to crumble.
Adapt and overcome.
Yep.
Good stuff, my man.